big data person without the knowledge of machine learning. So it is very important. So the topics are very nicely crafted. So I would like to congratulate and appreciate the organizers for taking initiative to organize this kind of program under CSI Kanjipuram chapter. I would like to thank the management. I would like to thank management of St. Joseph's. I would like to thank the head of the department and my former friend and colleague, Dr. Kala Rani, and the organizers and Islam and team. And it is also happy to note that Dr. P. Ranjana, who is also my colleague and friend and Hindustan University professor, she is also one of the resource persons for this workshop. Okay, so it is nice to hear. So happy to be a part of this. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for joining with us during your busy schedule and sharing your points, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Niket Bushra, ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of Information Technology, to give the addressal of our today's speaker, Dr. Ranjana, ma'am. Niket, ma'am, you can give that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sibi. Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning to each and everyone present here. I welcome again to this session on behalf of St. Joseph Institute of Technology and Department of Information Technology. I welcome you all to this session. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Dr. Ranjana, who is going to talk about machine learning algorithms for computational problem solving. She is currently working as a professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering in Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science for 22 years. She completed PhD and ME in Computer Science and Engineering from Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science. Her research area is artificial intelligence, data structures, graph theory, optimization techniques, and machine learning algorithms. She published more than 50 research papers in scholarly international journals, book chapters, and conferences. She has received awards for more number of Scopus publications and also received awards for conduct of various events at the university. She is editor and reviewer for many referred journals. Currently, she is guiding 8 research scholars in Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, now I hand over the session to Dr. Ranjana.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, the organizers, for giving this opportunity. Are you able to see my screen, ma'am?
Ma'am, your screen is not shared, ma'am.
No, ma'am?
No, ma'am, no. Yes, now it is visible. But
yes, ma'am, it's visible, ma'am, now. Dear participants, it's a request to you kindly mute your audio and disable your video, please. For the session to be in a successful way, please kindly cooperate with us.
Ma'am, are you able to see the slideshow?
Yes, ma'am, we are able to see, ma'am, but your voice is getting echo, ma'am. Echoed. We are able to hear your voice twice.
Okay, ma'am. Now, ma'am? No.
Now it's clear, ma'am. You can go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, all. I'm going to take a session on machine learning algorithms for computational problem solving. So, what is a computational problem and what is a computational thinking? So, computational thinking and computational problems are something which is different. So, computational problem is a problem that a computer might be able to solve. So, or a question that a computer may be able to answer. So computers, we will be inputting any problems we are doing using the computers. So we will give the input and we give the output and say that computers solve the problems. So some of the problems as such are which the computer will solve is decision problems, where we will be using the if statements or something, search problems, counting problems. So these were the traditional problems which the computer will be solving. So what is a computational thinking is? So computational thinking is computers will solve the problem the way that we think. So that is what we call as a computational thinking. So computational thinking is made up of 4 parts. We can say 4
Excuse
parts.
me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, it's in the slide sort of view, so we were not able to see the slides individually, ma'am. It's together.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I asked, ma'am.
Now it's okay, ma'am.
No, this is
Now you can put it in the presentation mode.
I put it in the presentation mode. I have.
Ma'am, it's not in full screen, ma'am, now.
View slideshow.
Thank you, ma'am.
No, actually, even I think you are not getting it in the full screen mode.
At least it is visible to us, ma'am. Now the content is visible.
Okay,
But before the
then.
content was not visible. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Shall I proceed, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, you can proceed, ma'am.
Proceed,
It's okay.
ma'am? Okay, computational problem is a problem that a computer will be able to solve. So computational thinking is made up of 4 parts: decomposition, pattern recognition, pattern generalization and abstraction, and algorithm design. So pattern recognition is finding the pattern in the raw set of data. Always we will be getting the raw set of data, so we'll be getting the patterns in that. And decomposition is breaking the problems into smaller problems. So usually if we get a bigger problem, it will be easy to solve. The computational thinking is breaking the problem into a smaller problem. We will divide the problem into smaller problem and we will be solving that. And pattern recognition is finding the pattern among the from the raw data. And pattern generalization and abstraction is once we have identified the pattern, then it is the general form. We will bring it to the general form. For example, if we say we are learning, we identify that somebody is speaking a language that is some English. We identify that it is an English language, and the generalization is this is recognition. Pattern recognition is saying that English is being taught, speaks English. But pattern generalization is generalizing what is a subject and what is a predicate. So that is a pattern generalization. And we have finally the algorithm design. So algorithm design is a place where it depends on the programmer who will be designing that algorithm. While designing the algorithm, there are several ways, several different types of algorithm design techniques that is available. So based on the problem, they will choose which algorithm design techniques. And so this is the algorithm design. And what is the algorithm? How the algorithm have to be written is an algorithm is independent of code that can be represented in any form. It can be in a formal way, it can be in an informal way. Like formal way means we will be writing it in terms of pseudocode, or if they want to represent in some other way, it can be a pictorial representation, it can be a mathematical representation, equation, or just a simple step-by-step language. So writing all those things is finally writing the algorithm and then converting that into a code and solving the problem. Now, machine learning, how does this here? So machine learning is a scientific discipline that is concerned with the kind of design and development of algorithm that allows computers to learn based on the data. This is also a design and development of the algorithm. So this is a scientific discipline. We will design and development of the algorithm. This is based on the data. Usually for this machine learning algorithm, the data are the sensor data. The data that is taken from the sensor or general database, the database data which is stored. So major focus on this machine learning research is to automatically learn to recognize complex patterns and make intelligent decisions based on the data. So the main focus is to identify, take the data, recognize the complex patterns. So to recognize the complex pattern and make intelligent decisions based on the data. So how this machine learning we can rely to an artificial intelligence. So actually machine learning is a part of the artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence itself refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like human and mimic their action. So this is they will be thinking, we will make the computer to think like human, that is artificial intelligence, and take decisions or act like human. That is the difference we have between human being and computer. So human being can act according to whatever the situation they face, but computers, we will make the computers also to program and act like human. So AI is the study of agents that receives percepts from the environment and perform action. So where AI, we can call an AI is an agent. An agent may be a computer or an agent may be a robot which will perceive, which will be observing what is happening in the environment and get the data, collect the data from the environment and performs action. So this we can say a robot which is used for cleaning the house or something. So the robot will be moving and it perceives the environment, perceives when it was moving the environment is nothing but the room. What it perceives, if it perceives the data, the data may be a dust or which tile it is going, one tile to the other tile, the agent will be moving. So it perceives the environment and from the environment it performs action. So if it finds the dust, it will perform an action, it will clean. So this is the AI, or we have the concept of the robot, behind robot. So the problems that can be solved by machine learning algorithms are manual data entry. So this is the one of the most problems that is faced in the real world. If the data
Excuse me,
is
ma'am.
manually, definitely there is a possibility of getting some human errors. So this can be solved by using this machine learning algorithms, detecting
Ma'am,
spam.
excuse me, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
there is no slide
only the first
transition.
screen, only the machine learning screen is we are able to see, ma'am. Yeah, now the problem solved screen we are able to see, ma'am.
I will minimize. Okay, ma'am. Shall I proceed or?
Yes, ma'am, you can
Ma'am?
proceed, ma'am.
So manual data entry, detecting spam, product recommendation. So recommending for a product, what is the product the customer will be buying, will be interested to buy, or recommending the customer. So this is a product recommendation. And medical diagnosis, the machine learning is used very much in algorithms are used very much in medical diagnosis to predict the disease and to treat the disease. Then customer segmentation and life value prediction. So custom based on the customers in data, it will be segmenting the customer, who are all the customers who will be able to buy more, and also it will the life value prediction, not only buying capacity of the customer, it will also say how it useful to the customer for their life value. So these things all will be done by the machine learning algorithms. And finally, the financial analysis. This is one of the greatest thing everyone needs, even a small ordinary person to to a manager or a owner of an organization. So they should be knowing how to manage the finance. So it will be saying what is the current situation, market situation. So how they can be doing this financial analysis. So these areas where the machine learning is applied.
Excuse me, Ranjana, ma'am, one
Yeah.
second, ma'am. Ma'am, some voice echo we are able to hear, ma'am.
1 second, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to see my slide, ma'am?
Yeah, we are able to see your slide, ma'am. And now the voice is clear, I think.
Okay, but why I don't know, slideshow is not coming. That's the problem.
We are able to see the problem solved by machine learning algorithm screen. We are able
Okay.
to see, ma'am.
Is this okay, or should I put slideshow?
It's visible only, ma'am. The letters we are able to see, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you press F11?
F11, ma'am.
You are able to do that, ma'am?
No, I'm pressing slideshow. I'm able to see slideshow, but you're not able to see slideshow. Here I'm getting slideshow now.
Okay.
Are you seeing my
Okay,
slideshow,
ma'am.
ma'am?
No, ma'am, no.
Okay.
It's just like previous one only. Yeah, you can start, ma'am. No issues.
Okay, ma'am. So next, the type of machine learning algorithms. So the machine learning algorithms are classified as supervised machine learning, unsupervised reinforcement learning, and then the recommender systems. Now we have to see about the supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and something on the reinforcement learning. So the supervised learning algorithms are
Excuse me, ma'am. The slide is
classification.
changed.
Slide is not moving.
Not changed. Yeah, not moving. Yeah, now it's okay. Types of machine learning algorithms.
Okay. Machine learning algorithms are classification and regression. We can have it as a classification and regression. So under classification algorithms, we have Navy based algorithm, SVM, random forest decision tree algorithms. And under regression, we have linear regression, logistic regression, and generalized regression. This is a main slide which you all should know as the first introductory topic of the machine learning. And then unsupervised algorithm is a clustering algorithm where we have k-means clustering, KNN, and then dimensionality reduction is PCA algorithm and SVD algorithm. And we have the reinforcement algorithms like Markov decision process, approximate dynamic programming, brute force. So these were some of the reinforcement algorithm. And also something about the recommender systems, what is cold start collaborative filtering, item collaborative filtering, and preference collaborative filtering. Now, machine learning is used to give intelligence to the machine, that is computer. There are two ways by which we can give intelligence to the machine: by rule based programming or by using a machine learning. So for example, a rule based means students studying for the exam and predicting the disease by the computer. So students studying for the exam, so this is a rule based. If a student studying for the exam, the students will pass. So this is rule based. If he studies, he will pass, otherwise he will not pass. So this is a rule based programming. And then the machine learned programming is predicting the disease by the computer. So machine learning is okay, they have the data, and if the data is okay, so based on the data, the disease will be predicted. So this is the rule based, or by using the machine language based. Data is there, based on the data we can say the student has worked hard, he will pass, otherwise the machine learning will say based on the data, it will say he may pass, he is getting the chance of having the disease. So this is the machine learning. And other the subtopic of this machine learning, we have another one is the deep learning. So deep learning is similar to or is the subset of machine learning. We can call this as a subset of machine learning. So this method for deep learning is similar to machine learning, and but there are some few differences. Some few differences are the algorithms used in this deep learning are generally inspired from human neural networks. The neural networks, so based on the brain, so how the brain signals, so that is a neural networks. So based on that, these deep learning algorithms are generally designed. And deep learning requires huge data set and computational power than machine learning. So huge data set. Machine learning algorithms, more than machine learning algorithms, this deep learning algorithm needs huge data set. So this is about the deep learning. So this is like we say, it is called as the subset of machine learning. And then machine learning types, like I told you, it is supervised learning. So supervised learning, this is very thing which we are going to see today. Task driven. Task driven is, it is nothing but classification. What will be done here is classification. What is a task? Supervised learning. And unsupervised learning is a data driven. So what will be the based on the data this is done. So this is clustering, mainly focuses on clustering. And then the reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is a study which will be seeing how it is close to the human learning. And algorithms learns a policy of how to act in a given environment. So every action has some impact in the environment, and the environment provides rewards that guides the learning algorithm. Here, if this is mainly focuses on the environment, what is the environmental changes and how it will be acting in the environment if the environmental changes are there. So that is known as the reinforcement learning. Now, this is the types of machine learning algorithm actually we are going to see today. So this is the simply, I will say, the type of machine learning. For example, I think you all will be able to see the picture here, which represents a student studying. A student, first, when a student is in a small standard like KG or a small kindergarten, the teacher will be teaching him how to write. So this is a supervised learning. So teacher has to tell him, otherwise he will not be able to write. So he will be saying, take a letter and how to represent A, B, C, D, or any mathematics, how to add 1 plus 2. This is supervised learning. The student will be able to do his job in the presence of the teacher. So that is the supervised learning. And next, when you see, when a child is grown up, he will be able to solve the problems from what he has already learned. If that problem is given to him, an addition or subtraction problem or a multiplication problem is given to the student, he will be able to solve it without the intervention of the teacher. So this is an unsupervised learning. And then when it comes to reinforcement learning, we will say it is something where something has happened which the students have not learned, or we will go to a situation where the environment is new, we would have not come across those types of environment. Under that situation, how we will act, or the problem till now the student have not faced, he has undergone some problem, so how he will be overcoming that situation and solving the problem and coming out of that situation. So that is the reinforcement learning. Next, so one by one we will see. First we will see this unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So unsupervised machine learning, this is a unsupervised machine learning. So it is a type of machine learning that brings the order to the data set and makes sense of data. So this I will have represented here in a diagram. Unsupervised machine learning are used to group unstructured data according to its similarities and distinct patterns in the data set. So it is mainly used for grouping the data set. So here you from the diagram you see, so this I hope you all are able to see. So different data sets are there, and the data sets are there. Then if you see here, this data will be passing on to this algorithm, and this algorithm will be processing, and in the output it will be grouping up the data. So that is the main work that is done by this machine learning. So raw set of data are there, and it will be processed, and this algorithm, through this algorithm, it will be giving a grouping of the data. So some data are in red color, so grouping of, they all are of similar type, and the data of green, they are all of some similar type, and the data of the other color, blue color, they are all of similar type. So data of similar types are grouped. So this is the main work of this unsupervised learning algorithms. How does this unsupervised machine learning algorithm work? The unsupervised algorithm is handling data without prior training. So this is the main thing that we have to say. Prior training is not that. This is a first time, or we will say supervised, unsupervised. That trained data is asked to do something. It is a function that does its jobs in the data as its disposal. So it is the as it lets its own device to sort out things as it sees to fit. So like just telling to do a work without any supervision. Whatever you feel, you do. Whatever the output you get, you please record. So this is the unsupervised algorithm. So unsupervised algorithm works with unlabeled data, and its purpose is that exploration. So we have used the word that is known as exploration. So exploration, the unsupervised machine learning works on exploration. So exploration is nothing but identifying the hidden patterns. So the data, unlabeled data, so that the data, it will be grouping or identifying some hidden pattern, some pattern inside it, some similarities, something together. So that is the exploration, the structure of information and detect distinct patterns. So patterns in the data. So that terms that thing we call as explore. And then extract. So extract is valuable insights. So from the pattern, what does it extract? What does it arrive? So from the pattern, so it has distinct pattern. So what is the pattern? So what do they understand from that pattern? So that is the extracting, and implement this into its operation in order to increase the efficiency of the decision making process. And then they will be taking this and then implement this. In order to make this happen, unsupervised, like I already told you, will apply in two major techniques, that is known as the clustering and dimensionality reduction. So clustering is grouping of the data, and dimensionality reduction, and that is what I'm going to show you in the next slides. And again, what is the more detailed definition of the clustering and unsupervised clustering, dimensionality reduction, association. So, unsupervised learning, in definition, what we will say is a process only the input variables. Yes, suppose we have the input variable x, but no corresponding output variable. Only input will be given, the output will not be known, or not will not be known. So input value, only input value, this is the input, and it takes whatever the output comes. It uses unlabeled training data to model the underlying structure of the data. And these were some of the things. Association. So association is to discover the co-occurrence of the item in the collection. So co-occurrence of the item. So how will we associate the between the items? So that is the association. So it is extensively used in market-based analysis. For example, if a customer purchase bread, he is 80% likely to purchase egg also. This is what will happen in the departmental store also. Based on the association only, association pattern, that is concurrence items in a collection. So market analysis, if the customer is buying the bread, he will buy jam or he will buy eggs. So they will be keeping, if you go in a departmental store, the likely thing what the customer will buy together will be kept in the same places. So instead of the customer going and searching it from a far off places, this customer will be given a same place. The items will be placed in the same place, nearby place. So this is association, one of the example for association. The next one is clustering. So to group the samples such as objects the same cluster or more similar to each other to the object from other clusters. So this is just a clustering, grouping of similar things together. Like I told you, if we find something, a pattern, so people who are living in the same area, so that can be grouped. So that can be one of the group, or customer who are likely to purchase one particular item, so that can be grouped. So this is a clustering. And then we have a dimensionality reduction. So dimensionality reduction means the number of variables of the data set while ensuring the important information is still conveyed. So dimensionality reduction can be done using feature extraction method and feature selection method. So we have a large volume of data. Do we need all those data to analyze? No. If we feel that those data, because to get the efficiency, this is mainly for the efficiency. Huge volume of data, automatically that will be reducing the efficiency of the algorithm. So for that, we can go for this dimensionality reduction. This dimensionality reduction can be done using this feature extraction method and feature selection method. So feature selection method is selects a subset of the original variable. We have entire data. So what is a feature selection? Based on one feature, a feature extraction. So we will be setting the subset of the data, where the feature extraction performs data transmission for higher dimensional space to lower dimensional space. So selection is selecting a particular thing. So extraction is performing some data transformation from one higher dimensional to lower dimensional space. So an example for this this a priori k-means PCA or example for unsupervised learning algorithms, which we would have heard of. Next one is the clustering. Clustering, like I told you, we have three types: clustering, dimensionality reduction, and grouping. So here, clustering is termed as the use the term to describe the exploration of data. Like I told, exploration data is to identify the hidden patterns where the similar pieces of the informations are grouped together. So this can be done in several ways. So defining the credentials that form the requirements for the clusters. So the credentials then mapped with the process data, and then clusters are formed. So this is one way we can have a cluster, defining the credentials. And then the other thing is the data into specific groups based on their common features. So this is the general thing we do. All they reside in one place. So that is a common feature. All these customers are interested to buy this product. So they belong to one group. So this is also a way by which a clustering can be done. Clustering technique is simple, but it is effective. So they require a lot of intense work, yet can give insight into the some valuable insight into the data. So clustering is defining and breaking down the problem. So this is a pictorial representation of clustering, where we have data and it is grouped into different clusters based on that similarity. Sorry.
Ma'am, Rachna ma'am.
Yeah, not yeah. Tell me,
Yeah,
ma'am.
now only the screen we are able to.
I'm putting okay something to move the slide. Oh, that's why. Okay, so this is the pictorial representation for clustering, where you have the data and these data are grouped together and based on the features which we saw earlier. So this is the representation by which clusters are formed. Some of the applications of clustering applications have been widely used across industries for many years. So we say for biology, for genetic and species grouping. The genetics and the species are grouped based on the clustering technique. And medical imaging also for distinction between different kinds of tissues. So if a tissue of this type, they will be grouping it together. So they may come to some conclusion based on that. They have some disease or they have some abnormalities. So this is one of the clustering technique that is applied in medical imaging. And market research, like I told you, for differentiating group of customers based on some attribute, any of the attribute system. And recommender system. So this is the recommender system that is also done by the Amazon purchase. Or any online purchase, we have a recommender system. That recommender system will be recommending the user for a better recommendation that they will be buying which product. So actually, if you see, we've opened some online purchasing app like Amazon or Flipkart. It will be showing the product that we are interested of, because based on our purchase pattern, it will recommend. It will our purchase pattern. It will recommend, and based on our purchase history, and also we will be browsing. So based on all these factors, it will take our data and it will be predicting. So this is some of the applications of clustering. So next, what we have is a dimensionality reduction. So dimensionality reduction is the process of distilling the relevant information. So like I told you, a huge volume of data, going to take only the necessary information. We are going to take only a record of 10,000. Is there. So it will be, if I want to do process those data, actually the efficiency of my algorithm will be decreasing. So we'll be reducing the data dimensionality reduced. So distilling the relevant information, we can call, in other word, it is distilling the relevant, we are only taking the relevant information and removing all the unnecessary information. So raw data is usually laced with a thick layer of data noise, which can be anything. So raw data is the data which we are going to take. It will be having many noise like missing values, erroneous data, modeled bits, or some irrelevant to cast. So because of that, before we start, we have to remove all the noises from the data. That is, we felt whatever the data is felt unnecessary data, which will not be giving us anything to our contribute to our answer. So all these kind of data has to be reduced. So this is the dimensionality reduction. And if you see, so this is the pictorial representation for this dimensionality reduction. The dimensionality reduction is the process of decreasing the complexity of data. So if you have that a huge volume of database and we are reducing this data into a smaller size, we can take either of this type of data, and we are taking reducing the noise data and only the wanted information. So we can define this as the process of decreasing the complexity of the data while retaining the relevant part of its structures to a certain degree. So relevant part, we have to maintain the relevant part of the structure to a certain degree. To a certain degree means we cannot maintain completely that whatever the degree that we have earlier, to a certain degree. So that is the dimensionality reduction. Some of the applications of unsupervised machine learning technique includes clustering, like you are allowing the data to split the data into groups, and clustering analysis overestimates the similarity between the groups and doesn't treat data points as individual. So data points will not be taken as individual, it will be grouping together and saying the similarity between them. For cluster analysis, because it is not taking the data point individually, it may be a poor choice for the application like customer segmentation and targeting. And anomaly detection can automatically discover unusual data points in the data set. So this is useful for pinpointing the fraudulent detection. Like fraudulent detection, discovering faulty pieces of the hardware, or identifying the outlier caused by human during data entry. So human manual entry, like already we have seen the applications of machine learning. So manual entry, that may be outlier. So without any relevance, some data would have been typed. Or like fraudulent, if somebody is fraudulent without any relevance, their details will be there. So that can be taken and found out. And association mining identifies a set of items that frequently occurs together in the data set. So this is association between the data set. So retailers often use this for basket analysis because it allows analysts to discover goods often purchased at the same time and develop more effective marketing and strategies. So it allows definitely useful for the retailers. So what is the association? Like I already explained, the people who buy this will be always buying this. And latent variable models are commonly used for data pre-processing, such as reducing the number of features in the data set. So or decomposing the data into multiple components. So reducing the number of features in the data set. So that is dimensional reduction or It can also be used for decomposing the data into multiple data sets. So these were some of the places where we will be using this machine learning, this unsupervised learning. So unsupervised learning is, we have seen what is an unsupervised learning and what are the different algorithms that is used for unsupervised learning and where all it can be applied. Next, we will see the supervised machine learning problems. So I gave you a definition for unsupervised learning that we have only one input, that is input. It will be talking only about the input. Here, supervised machine learning is a algorithm that looks for the unknown in the known. So unknown in the known. So you can represent this as you have a known input X and known output Y. A simplified supervised machine learning algorithm would look like an equation Y equal to f of X. So what do you depend on? The Y is based on the value of X, the function of X, where your goal is to train the model in such a way that you will be able to tell what kind of Y you get if you change X. So this is the supervised. So supervising input is X, giving an input, and what is the output that is expected? The output that I expect from the input X is Y. So training in such a way. So, and a function is a function, or our logic, what is the logic that is behind that is the function that is F. So this is the general representation for the supervised machine learning. So supervised machine learning algorithms are applied in scaling the scope of the data and uncover the hidden patterns in the data, extracting the most irrelevant insights, and discovering relationship between entities and enabling prediction of the future outcome based on the available data. So these were some of the places where machine learning or supervised machine learning is applied. This is the overall representation of the supervised machine learning. We have here can be taken classified as regression and classification. So regression technique and classification techniques. So regression, we have linear regression, random forest, multi-layer. So this is what some of the techniques which I'm going to explain. And classification, we have logistic regression, decision trees, and other things. So this is a supervised learning algorithm. So we're taking a raw data. The supervised learning algorithm works on this type. So this is the main picture how this supervised machine learning algorithm works. So taking the raw data and feature extraction, extracting the important feature. So the feature that is needed by us, taking that features and then train the model. The model is trained. So model is trained out of the given data, raw data. A model that is feature is taken, selected, extracted. Like we have, I already told that valuable insights are extracted and then they are trained. This is why. What is the input? What will be the output? If this is the input, this will be the output. That is the training. So that trained the model, and that model from that model is evaluated. So this model is the evaluation function is done. So whether if I give this input, what output I am getting. So based on this, again, a feedback is given to the feature extraction. So if I get this output, if I'm not getting this, so what will happen? I'm not able to get this. So what the type of my data should be, input data should be. So that is going to the feature extraction, and then this model will be predicted. So this model, from this model, we can also come to a conclusion that is predict the new data. Here already the raw data is there. Some new data is comes in between. That new data also the feature extraction is done, and then this feature is sent for the prediction, and based on the model which they have already have given some solution. So this new data also will predict the value, because already it is trained. If you get this type of data, this will come. So it is not only the already given data. So based on that data, we have some condition is there. So based on that, a new data arrives also, it will be able to predict. So this is the supervised machine learning algorithm. So mainly this is used for the prediction So prediction means suppose what will happen next. It is not like giving the input and output. Based on the input, it will say the possibility is the next thing. So some of the supervised machine learning algorithms that have are decision trees. So decision tree is a tree tool that used to used to tree like graph to model. Hmm, or take decision based on the possible sequence. So this is like a tree structure. We all know a tree structure. It will have several nodes, and each decisions will be the nodes of the tree, and including a chance event outcome, resource cost, and utility. I have given in the next slide some of the example for the decision trees. So this is an example for decision tree. First, we'll take one condition and whether it is yes or no. So if it is yes, based on that, a decision will be taken. If it is no, again it will check for the another condition. What happens? Yes or no. So based on the several conditions, it may be having several conditions. If A grade less than B, then we go for A less than B, and if A less than C. So what action to be taken? And if B less than C, what will happen? If B less than C, if it is yes, what will happen? And if it is no, what will happen? So this is the way how a decision tree is constructed. So take the data, find where the condition, yes or no condition. So based on this decision, we can come to a conclusion. So finally arrive at the decision. So I'm going to accept this or not. I'll be showing you a simple example in the next slide. So this is a simple example for a decision tree. So the input that is given is the age, gender, and occupation of the person. So the prediction. So they are asking, does the person like computer games? Several person database the person is given, and it is asked whether this person will like the computer game. First, it will check for the age. The person age are of different. If the age is less than 15, so there will be two answers, yes or no. So if the age is less than 15, whether the person will be able to see, whether the person will be able to uh, able to be able to play the game. Then is male. It will ask a question. Then if the person is age less than 15, okay, yes. And if that is no, if the person is male, then also if it is yes, then it is giving some points. So the prediction score that is given here is +2, because here the person is a male, then there is a more chance for playing the computer game than the person that of female. So if the person with male has high probability of playing the computer game, and the person should be of less than 15 years. Actually this is no. If they are of more than 15 years, then the probability of playing the computer game is very less. So each person, the prediction score is given in the leaf node. So based on this prediction score, the person having +2, so he is having more prediction score, and this is having 0.1, and this persons are having -1. So based on this prediction score, we can come to a conclusion that the person will be interested in playing the computer game. So this is what is the simple example for the decision trees. So the next one is a Navy based classification. So Navy based classifier, or also a family of classifier. So based on applying the Bayes theorem. So this Bayes theorem is based on the independent assumption between the features. So the features equation, based on the feature equation with the posterior probability and likelihood, that is posterior probability of A to B and then B to A, that is likelihood, and P of A is class prior probability, and what is the predicted probability. So it will be calculating the probability of the events that and based on that it will come to a conclusion. Some real world example are to mark an email as spam or not, classify a new article as about technology, politics, or sports. So what is the probability? How will you classify this email as spam or not? So based on like conditions, probability of occurrence, how it is occurring, and among the mails what have occurred, how many times this mail is coming, and checking the piece of text expressing positive emotions or negative emotions, and use for face recognition software. So face recognition also identifying whether this person is exactly what the person that we are expecting for. So these places all this Navy based classification is applied. And then is a ordinary least square regression. So least square regression is made for performing linear regression. So linear regression is a task of fitting a straight line through a set of points. There are multiple possible strategies to do this, and we call this as many ways. We have a straight line, whether whatever the data points we are getting or fitting into the straight line. So that is a linear regression. So this ordinary least square linear regression is a strategy is we can draw a line and from each point measures the vertical distance between the point and the line. So and adds these up. The fitted line would be the one which is the sum of the distances of all possible small possible. So linear refers to a kind of model that we are using to fit into the data, while least square refers to the kind of error metric you are minimizing over. So this is a linear straight line, whether data points we are fitted into the fitted into a straight line. When we draw a graph and a linear line is drawn, out of the data points we have, are they all coming closer to this linear point? So that is a linear. And least square refers to the kind of error matrix that you are minimizing over. So how we are minimizing, because we are saying it is a least square, so how will we minimize the error of plotting the data while we were plotting it? So I'm having a graphical representation for this linear representation in the next slide. So this is the actual data. This is an example for predicting the price. So predicted price is something this, whether the data what we have is fitting into this linear line. So based on the price and time, so when the time increases, what is the price? The price also increases. So this is what is actually predicted. But what is the actual price? Whether the actual price has fitted into this point. So this is the example for this linear least square linear regression. So the next one is the logistic regression. So logistic regression is also a powerful way of modeling the binomial outcome with one of the more explanatory variables. So this is also a regression only. So it gives a relationship between the categorical dependent variable and one or more independent variable. So this will be having one or more independent variable, and based on this, the logistic function will be calculating the cumulative logistic distribution. In general, regressions this can be used is for credit scoring. Credit score is now everywhere, that whatever the credit score is obtained based on some criteria, and measuring the success rate of marketing. What is the success rate? They'll be doing marketing campaigns, and whether it is a successful one or not. So that is a measure. And predicting the revenue of a certain product. Predicting the revenue of a certain product is going to be an earthquake on a particular day. So for these types of applications, this logistic regression can be used. So this is a pictorial representation of the logistic regression, where we have not only a one data, we have a set of data by which we will be using this. And then this is a most widely used support classification algorithm, support vector mission. So here 2 points are given in the n-dimensional space, and the support vector mission generates an n-1 dimensional hyperplane to separate those points into 2 groups. So whatever the points, 2 types in the paper which are linearly separable. So it will put a straight line which separate those 2 points and 2 types and simulate as far as possible from all those points in terms of scale. So this are some of the problems which can be solved using this SVMs are like display advertisement, humans splice site recognition, image based gender detection, large scale image classification. So these were some of the places where we will be using. So this is used for classification method, differencing. We take the difference in the n-dimensional space, grouping up the data. So this is the linear support vector machine. So this is the representation. So we put a straight line and differentiate what is the data that is lying above or of a different type of some type, and data that is below or of some type. So differentiating that, this support vector machine will be used. So this is the support vector machine. Next is a random forest classifier we have. So this is also one of the machine learning classifier that can be used. So this classifier is same like decision trees, but this creates a decision tree based on the randomly organized selection from the training data set, and it gathers the information from other decision trees so that it could be decide on the final class of the test object. Takes the decision tree and take so many decision trees for giving the final answer. The difference from the traditional decision trees is that the random forest applies an element of randomness of bigger extent than usual. Instead of simply looking at the most important features upon the node split, it tries to find the best features in random selection. So this is used for recommender engine. What is the recommender system? It will be recommending image classification and feature selection. I'm giving you an example for this random forest classification here. So training data set will be take training data set 1, training data set 2, training data set 3. So all these data set are taken and each of them will be passed on to a decision tree. So this is one decision tree. Training data set is taken and it will be going through one decision tree, and the other data set will be going to the other decision tree, and then the next to the other decision tree. And based on all these things, it combines, and based on this voting average, the prediction is done. An example also I'll be showing you. So this is an example for random forest classifier that predicts the final decision. So fruits are kept there. That is an instance, a fruit basket. And this is one of the decision tree. This is one of the other decision tree, and this is the other decision tree. So a fruit is taken, and the fruit is given to one decision tree. It has to identify the fruit. So that is the problem. So when it identifies the fruit, based on this decision tree properties, it will first check whether it is a fruit. What is the shape of the fruit? Like I already told you, shape of the fruit. We have seen decision trees already. Yes or no conditions. Based on yes or no condition, it will be saying yes, 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 and finally it will be predicting that as an apple. And then the next tree also will be saying, next decision tree also, it will be saying it is an apple. And when it comes to the third tree, it is predicting, it is finding that it is as a banana. But all these majority of voting, taking all the answers from these decision trees, class A, class B, and class B, and finally giving the answer that this is a apple. So this is known as a random forest, which will be giving you more accurate prediction. And these applications of supervised machine learning, this vast majority of business cases for machine learning uses supervised machine learning algorithms. So this makes them to enhance the quality of the work and what decision they have done would help them to reach the goal. And numerous business benefit from the implementation of machine learning for sales, marketing, and the CEO and business owners there. So like I told you, mainly if it is used for predicting, means definitely what will be the market analysis, what will be the market situation, what is the current situation, whether it is going to improve or not. So this business people, the CEOs and business owner, need to know this to invest on something. So if they will be investing on something, only if they know what will happen next and not now, what is a prediction. So based on the data, it will be predicting what will happen next. So after a few years. So now the present situation also, we all know suddenly unexpected things has happened, which people have not expected or have not predicted. So now also what is going to happen in the next 1 year, and how the business people have to invest. So these things can be predicted using this supervised machine learning algorithm. So most of the people that they are doing the business now, they are going only for this machine learning algorithm to predict the business. So there is a separate team itself they have for business intelligence, how this intelligence systems will be used to predict their business and improve their market situation. So then coming to the reinforcement learning. Now I have told you an overview of what is a machine learning, what is a machine learning, what is a supervised learning, what is unsupervised learning, and what are the important, some, not all the algorithms, some important algorithms that will be used in the supervised and unsupervised machine learning. And here comes the reinforcement learning. So this is the reinforcement learning scenario. This is a pictorial representation of a reinforcement learning scenario. And like supervised learning and unsupervised learning, the agent will be knowing what will be the output, and based on the output, the agent will be reacting. The agent knows, perceives the environment. That is, it takes the input from the environment. Based on the environment, the agent, or we call that as a robot, that will act to the environment. Like reinforcement learning is something which the agent has not come across yet. So the agent should not stop. Suppose a robot is cleaning the room. Suddenly something has happened, some crash or some fire. So the agent should not stop working. So what should the agent do? How it should react? Because that situation is not trained to the agent. This is not known to the agent. He has not come across that type of situation. He has not stored those values in the table, or what will be the input and what is the output. So this is a situation. So perception and what action the agent is going to give to the real world. So this human expert will be training based on the perception what he has taken, and this human experts will be training the agent, that is the robo agent, and it will be querying. But then example for reinforcement learning, what I will say is, suppose we are a human being. We know we are all used to travel in only one, live in only one type of environment. Suppose we were left with some environment, some place where we were not known, some mountainous place, or where people are not living, some environment. We were holed up in some place. So how we will live? We have to overcome that. We have to find a way to come out of that, or how to get food from that, how to live there. So that is the reinforcement learning, because our mind is not trained. We don't know how to live in a unknown environment. Usually we will be knowing how to live in a place or city, or we will be going inside our house, but we will not know how to live in live in a place where there are mountains and other things. So we have to adapt ourselves to live in any environment. So that is a reinforcement learning. So this is a type of machine learning algorithms that allows the agent to decide the next action on its current state by learning the behavior that will maximize the award. So how we will be taking some decision if we are in some situation by learning. So how we will be moving out, coming to the next state. So this is the learning. So this learning behavior, the agent will be maximized. So how maximize reward, or we can say that in other terms as efficient, how the agent will be coming out of that and getting that. So reinforcement learning algorithms, optimal actions through trial and error method, they are typically used in robotics, where a robot can learn to avoid collision by receiving negative feedback after bumping into the obstacle, and video games. While trial and error reveal specific movements that can shoot up the player's reward. The agent can use these rewards to understand the optimal state of the gameplay and choose the next action. So this is based on the reward. If the agent takes some action that is not rewarded, that means that action the agent will not be doing it again. If the agent gets reward for some action, that means the action that is taken by the agent is correct. So he will be moving on from that state. So the state which the agent has reached, because The state which is giving more reward means he is going in the correct path. If the agent has not received any reward means the path the agent is going is not correct. So based on the path the agent will be moving. So this is the example. This is a reinforcement. Generally, to understand, this is the reinforcement learning. So how can I compare this with the supervised learning? Reinforcement learning. You are in straight lines. Choose action A or C. Step 1. Action A, world. So your reward is 100. So this is the reinforcement learning. Step 2. You are in state 32. Choose action B or E. Action B, your reward is 50. Then go to step 2. So if you move to step 2 and 3, not only each step will have each reward. If you go take the correct, that is the optimal route, correct route, then you will reward is more. So this is simply a reinforcement learning. Some state of action is the main and based on the action a reward will be given. So agent, if he gets more reward, he understood that that will be the correct path, and he has to follow that path, and for achieving that path whatever the technique he has done, so that technique will be done to reach that path. So that is the reinforcement learning. So the reinforcement learning steps are: the agent observes the input state, and action is determined by decision making policy. So this is a policy, because this is a policy decision making policy, or what logic he has followed to reach that state. So agent will be observing all the input state. Then the agent performs the action. The agent receives a scalar reward. So it will be a value, scalar value, like an amount, 50, 100 or something, or reinforcement from the environment. And the information about the reward given for the state action pair is recorded. So whatever the information, the reward that is given for the agent is recorded in the table. A table has the information about the output, and what is given to the agent, this reward will be recorded on the
Ma'am, 1
table.
second. Ma'am, 1 second, ma'am. Somebody's volume is unmuted. 1 minute. Dear participants, kindly mute your volume. Yes, ma'am, you can continue, ma'am. Sorry for the disturbance, ma'am.
Okay. So these were some of the terms used in reinforcement learning. So agent, so it is assumed to be the entity which perform the action in environment to gain some reward. So agent is so like I told you, will be a computer or a robot. So we will be performing its action. The environment is a scenario. Suppose we take I already told you about this cleaning robot. So this room will be there, can be the environment. Or if I say we are caught up in some mountainous area, so that is the environment. A scenario where the agent has to face, a place where the agent has to face. A reward. Reward is an immediate gift returned to an agent when he or she performs action. So when the agent takes correct decision, good decision, so he will be rewarded. So this is the reward. So that term is denoted as R. And state refers to the current situation written by the environment. So what is the current state? The agent is in one state. S1 is next. The agent will be moving on to the next state. So that state is known as S2. And policy. Like policy is a strategy the agent has used to go to the next state from the current state. So that is represented as pi. And here we have a value. So value is the expected long-term return with discount as compared to the short-term reward. So this is a long term. Like we say, agent is going from one step to the next step. You have performed very well. So we will be giving the reward. But long term, next step, how the agent is reaching the goal, that is known as the value. So value is the long term goal, and value function specifies the value of the state, that the total amount of reward an agent will be expected from the beginning. So what is the function, value function, what the agent is using from the current state to the from the beginning state. And then model of the environment, this is the what is the behavior of the environment. So this helps to increase and also determine the environment. How will we modeling the environment on model based methods. So this is the method for solving the reinforcement learning problem. And a q value, so this q value is also a quick similar value. This is the, so this takes an additional parameter that is known as the current action. So some of the associative and non-associative tasks are, so it is situation dependent, mapping from situation to action that are best in the situation. So this is the associative. And non-associative tasks are, it is also situation dependent and no need for associating different actions with different situation. So there is no need to associate what is action and what is the situation. So learners either tries to find the best action when the task is necessary or tries to track the best action as it changes over time. So this is the associative and non-associative tasks in reinforcement learning. Some of the practical applications of reinforcement learning are, it is used for robotics in industrial automation, and it is used in machine learning for and data processing, and reinforcement learning is used to train the system that provide custom instruction and materials according to the requirement of the students. And reinforcement can be used in large environments. So we can also be using it in the large environments to build a model to environment is known as to build an analytic solution. That is still now an analytic solution which is not available, or only a simulation model of the environment is given. The subject of simulation is based on optimization, or we can also use this only to collect the information of the environment to interact with it. So these places all it can be used. So some of the examples of reinforcement learning is, suppose you say your cat is an agent that is exposed to the environment. In case in your house, an example for the state could be your cat sitting, and you specify the word is for the cat to walk. So you need the cat to walk. Our agent reacts by performing the action transition from state to another state. For example, a cat going to sit to walking, the reaction of the agent is an action, and the policy is making a selection of action given a state is expectation of better outcomes. After the transition, that may get reward or penalty in return. So if a cat walks, if we give it a reward, that means that is known as a reward to the cat. So we want the cat to walk. If he sits in a position and without walking, so that means no reward will be given. So this is the reward that is given to the cat. So from this cat will understand if we walk, they are giving the reward. So that is a correct procedure to walk and go and face the situation. So this is the another some example for reinforcement learning. So the characteristics of this reinforcement learning are, there is no supervisor, only a real number or reward signal. So sequential decision making. It is not one decision making. Like I told you, first it will take one decision. It will get a reward. Based on the reward, the next decision making have to be sequential. So here time plays a crucial role in reinforcement learning, because if it comes to a real time problems, definitely immediate action should be taken. So time plays a crucial role, and feedback is always delayed and not instantaneous. Because feedback, what is a feedback it gets? It's always a delayed one. It is not an instantaneous, because it will not know what is going to happen instantaneously. And agent action determine the subsequent data it receives. So this is the characteristics of the reinforcement learning. So some of the models of the reinforcement learning widely used models are Markov decision process model and Q learning model is the widely used reinforcement learning models. So this is a Markov decision process model where there is a set of action, set of states, and reward, policy, value function, which I have already told. So this is a mathematical approach for mapping the solution in reinforcement learning. So the environment is there. So the mathematical approach, the action will be taken based on the state, and if the reward, the agent will be getting the reward what action for the action what it is taking. So this they are using a mathematical approach for solving this. So that is the Markov model. Some of the real world applications of reinforcement learning are traffic light control, and it is used in robotics, web system configuration, even for chemistry, molecule something personalized recommendation, bidding and advertising, and games. So these are the fields where reinforcement learning are used. So this is a recommender system. recommender system is recommending the user based on the environment, the user and the content, the state, the agent will be recommending. So industries like e-commerce, retail, news groups or music apps, recommender system model, and they will be using the customer retention. So based on the recommendation, they will be making the customer to buy the product from them itself, the product which you are interested of as we are getting. So this like based on the feedback, whatever the feedback they get, and what is the content being the state and action the next state. So how the action is taken the next state, so the reward is given, and based on that feedback. So this is the use that on further applications are robotics, planning, digital learning process, and also it helps to create training systems, provide custom instructions and materials according to the requirements. An aircraft control and robotic motion control. These are reinforcement learning is used in. So when what is this reinforcement learning? If you don't have enough data to solve the problem, it's the supervised learning. So when the data is not enough, then you can use. You need to remember that reinforcement learning is a computing heavy and time consuming. In particular, when the action space is large, because it will be taking more time because getting the feedback based on the feedback, and then only it is going to record the result and react. So it will be taking more computing time. Also, it will be pretty heavy for the computer, more space. So that time, please avoid using the reinforcement learning. So what is the difference from supervised learning? Reinforcement learning method works on interacting with the environment, whether supervised learning method works on the sample of data. When we talk about the environment, the environment will changes, reinforcement learning will work. When we talk about the data, then supervised learning will be achieved. The challenges in reinforcement learning is that reward awards should be very much involved. Parameters may affect the speed of learning, and realistic environments can have partial observability. So this is also one of the things, because environment is not fully observable. There are different ways in which an environment is observable. Suppose an environment is partially observable, then also there is a problem in using these challenges for this reinforcement learning, and too much reinforcement may lead to overload of states which can diminish the result. So realistic environment can be non-stationary. So too much of reinforcement we use, so that is also unnecessary, and it is non-stationary when it comes to the realistic environment. So future of the reinforcement learning will be is to assist the human. Even now it is doing has potential to assist the human and work with human, just like a robot or a virtual assistant working with you and taking the action that is into consideration in order to achieve the common goal, and understanding the consequences of different strategy. So what will be the consequences of different strategy? What is going to happen now? So here I'm giving in one example. Sometimes we would like to know how things could be different, at least in the short term. If I took a different action, greater choice to win next World Cup, if coach and another use another strategy. So what strategy should the coach use to win the World Cup again? Of course, to achieve this, we could need to model the environment, transition functions, and so on, and also analyze the interaction between the agent. So which seems to be possible at this moment. So how will we achieve? So if we want to achieve, we have to take every situation. The environment has to be modeled, and what is the action, what will be the action, and what are all the possible action, what are all the possible environment, what are all the transition function. All that has to be modeled and can predict how we can achieve, or we can achieve any success, not only the World Cup, anywhere, how we are going to achieve the success. So these were some of the references. So I finished on taking on the supervised, unsupervised, the basic understanding of about supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning, which is the popular machine learning algorithms classification, and that are applied today, that is in the current scenario, real world, and also in the future, which will be used helpful for the future. Thank you. I have finished my presentation. Any questions? Ma'am?
Thank you, Ranjana ma'am, for your wonderful presentation, ma'am.
I finished my presentation. Now,
Yeah,
any
thank you,
questions?
ma'am.
Will I be able to see something in the?
Yeah. We are able to see the slide, ma'am. Question. Dear
No, ma'am.
participants, if you have any questions,
Will
you
they be
can post
posted
your
in
question in the
the chat
chat
box
box.
or chat box, ma'am?
Ma'am, in the chat box till now, all the participants have told that the presentation is well good done and it is explained briefly. And one of the participants has given the feedback that reinforcement learning was explained detail, which was now current trending in the machine learning. There is no query. Dear participants, if you have
Because reinforcement
any
learning is the
queries, you
current
can.
upcoming one, which we have to concentrate more. Okay, I'll be sharing the PPT with the organizers.
Yes, thank you, Ranjana ma'am, for your wonderful session.
Okay, thank you for your feedback.
And
Okay, good explanations of the topic. Thank you for your feedback.
and for the wonderful session during your busy schedule, and even your classes were started in during that session also you have given a wonderful talk by accepting our invitation, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, HOD ma'am. Anslam ma'am, thank you. And also the CSI ma'am, CSI organizers ma'am, committee members. Rajeshwari ma'am, are you there? Rajeshwari ma'am. And also Sendil Kumar sir. And organizers of St. Joseph Institute of Technology. HOD ma'am, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Ranjana ma'am, thank you so much.
Ma'am, link is not working.
Everybody is posting link is not working.
Wait a minute, ma'am, I'll check it. Wait
What
1
is it,
minute,
ma'am?
wait.
That is a feedback link. Okay.
Dear participants, now you will be able to submit your feedback. You can submit your feedbacks.
Okay, ma'am.
Dear participants, the feedback link is active now and it will be active only for the today. And based on your feedback submission, the attendance will be considered for the today's participants.
Hello.
Sibi,
Niket ma'am.
Ma'am?
shall we wind up or we need to give instructions? You have to wait for
Ma'am,
some
I
time.
didn't get the feedback from it.
Niket ma'am, you can end your section ma'am, but don't
Ma'am, I
end
didn't get
the
the
end your
feedback from it,
session ma'am. You
ma'am.
can just leave the session ma'am.
Okay, okay. Okay.
I can wait for a few minutes because
Ma'am,
the feedback has.
I have completed this session.
Yes. Can I know who's this? The participant, somebody is talking.
Ma'am, Archana, I have attended the full session, but I didn't get the feedback from it.
Ma'am, where is the feedback, ma'am?
Form is posted in the chat box, ma'am. It's posted in the chat
in the
box.
chat box.
Ma'am, I'm
Feedback.
Archana. I have attended the full session. No, I'm not able to enable the chat.
Ma'am, I need the feedback link, ma'am.
It's not enabled for me.
Ma'am, try it now.
We'll post
Again, I have posted in the chat box. Try it now.
All the session materials will be sent to your mail and the recording of the session also will be shared.